living now in the Bein HaMetzorim, and this is a time where every Yid develops a deep yearning to see Klal Yisrael be reunited in our land with the Beis Mikdash, with the Sanhedrin, with the Kohen Gadol, with a Nasi, with a Melech, and the realization of all the promises that the Nevi'im gave in the depiction of the Yemei Mashiach. The things we have to do during these 3 weeks in order to hope achieve the realization of all the prophecies is to do things that sort of be misaken, sort of correct the things that led to the Churban and to the Golus Yisrael. We have to have ourselves focused on what were the tightness on Klal Yisrael, what they had done wrong, and give special attention in these days to do what good to correct him. And in light of that, I want to start the discussion from the well-known Rabbi Chaya that says about the whole story of Asar Harugi Malchus, that had Yosef been Michael, his brothers, then that whole story never would have happened. The brothers, at the end of Parashat Vayichan, asked him Mechila, but he never said, I'm Michael. And Rabbi Chaya doesn't mean he didn't say the words of Mechila. He wasn't really Michael. And had he been Michael, then the whole story of the Asar Harugi Malchus never would have occurred. Asar Harugi Malchus was the kapara for that Indian of the Mechiras Yosef. And Mechila helps on these things. That's a well-known Rabbi Chaya, and the problem is, there seems to be a glaring steer on that from the first pasuk in the last parak in She'ashirim, that the pasuk over there says, Mi yitencha ka'ach li. Klal Yisrael is turning to Rabbi Gershon and saying, Halavai, you should be to me like a brother. And Rashi says that you should come to be menachem me in my golus, just like Yosef did to his brothers, that they did to him bad, they were going with him raw, and it says Vayinachem Oisam. So Klal Yisrael is asking the Rabbi Gershon, please be as good to us like Yosef. And the Mikdash elaborates on this in the Psikta, and it says, enunciates exactly Klal Yisrael's bakasha and HaKadosh Baruch Hu's answer. And it says the Yisrael said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rabbeinu Shalom, Boyu Re'elu Yosef, after all the royas that his brothers did to him, who oimid umenachem oisam umedaber al libam, like the pasuk says in the end of Vayichan, when they came to ask Mechila, he said Vayinachem oisam umedaber al libam. Afanu yedim she'echravnu es beisecha b'avin yiseinu horagnu es nevienu avanu kol mitzvah sheb'teira. We know that we destroyed the temple, we killed the Navi, and we didn't keep the commandments. Elami tencha ka'ach. Be like Yosef, that even though we did wrong, you should be going with us. Taiva b'menachmas. Amalem HaKadosh Baruch Hu ki Yosef atem mevakshim oisi. You want me to be like Yosef? Ki Yosef ani nas lachem. What did Yosef do? He was menachem oisam and medaber al libam. Afatem nachmu ami yom elikechem daber al leiv Yerushalayim. So this is Klal Yisrael's biggest hope, is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be like Yosef. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said he'll be like Yosef, and that's the nachmu ami. Rabbi Chaya is saying Yosef was not Michael. So this is what we're hoping for. Do these two things go together? How do we reconcile the glaring discrepancy between what the Rabbi Chaya is saying and what the Midrash was saying, that Klal Yisrael is asking, Mi yitencha ka'ach li ki Yosef? And upon closer examining what the dialogue between Yosef and the brothers were at the end of Vayichan, you find it very interesting exactly what Yosef is saying. The pasuk says that the brothers came to Yosef out of fear that maybe now that their father was nifter, Yosef is going to return all the bad that they did to him. And they came to Yosef and they said that your father commanded before he died, he left instructions for you. So no lepesha checha v'chatosom kirog yimalucha. So no lepesha avdei lekei avicha. And the pasuk says Yosef was crying. And then he said to them, Al tiro ki asachas lekimoni. And he continues and he says, Atem chashavtem l'ayro likim chashav l'toiva. It all worked out well. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had a plan for good, so that I should be able to be mefarnes all of Beis Yaakov, lahachir samrav. And he affirms his commitment that he's going to feed them all and take care of them. When reading these psukim, you see that Yosef Atzadik is talking the talk of somebody who's ready to be Michael. The way a person is Michael is when he sees that it's not really, you're not the perpetrator, it really came from the Rabbeinu Shalom. Alikim chashav l'tayva, and it's not really you. This is the talk that one has to have in his, these are the sentiments he has to have in order to give the Mechila. Rabbeinu B'chai is saying he wasn't Michael. Not only that, in the middle of this soft talk of being menachem them and promising to support them, he does say something that's a little incongruous over here. It's a little too sharp. He says, Atem chashavtem alay ra. You tried to kill me. Rashi makes the point, and B'Shem Gemara Megillah, that he was saying to them that just like 10 neighbors were not able to extinguish one there, meaning all you tried to kill me and you weren't able to, so certainly one there would not be able to extinguish 10 neighbors. I would not be able to kill all of you. When you're in the talk of Mechila and being menachem them and at a point of reconciliation, this is inappropriate. You really wanted to kill me, and as far as you're concerned, it was terrible. Baruch Hashem, interfered, and he saved me. But you tried to kill me. How does this piece fit in here, in the middle of this reconciliatory talk? So, the economy office picks up on this, and he says that Machshava is not that important. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not mitzaref Machshava l'maisa. So here there actually was a maisa. They threw in the pit, they sold him, but on the maisa he is being Michael. On the Machshava is what he's not being Michael. The Machshava is what he's talking about, but once he's Michael the maisa, so the Machshava doesn't count much. And I think that he's saying something very profound over here. This is sort of the final big contact between Yosef and the brothers. And the origination of this whole fight and the sinner and the kin of the Mechira is explained away by the Mishnah Melech and the Sefer Parashat Tacham that it had to do with if Klal Yisrael at that time were Yisrael Gomer, or they still had to be Noeg the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, they still had a din of a Goy L'Chomer. That was the big issue there. And he explains the Dibos and Ra, the three things based on that. But that was the fundamental machlokes between the brothers and Achim. And if you add what the economy office is saying here, you see that is actually still between them. Atem chashavtem alay ra. But you hold that you were Yisrael even Lakula. So by Yisrael, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not mitzaref machshava to Maisa. So ignore the fact that I'm not being Michael that. Just ignore it. It doesn't concern you. I'm the one who holds that we have a din of Yisrael just l'chumrah. But we also have to be machmed to be of the goyim, of this. Up until Har Sinai, we still have to be chayshes l'chumrah of being b'nei Noach. So I'm the one that's worried about the machshava, but you're not worried about the machshava. So the issue is coming up over here again, and essentially Yosef is saying l'shitaschem, you have no concern over here and you have no worry, and they're saying the same thing also. They're saying sonol pesha achecha v'chatosem kiro gimalucha. They're only worried about what they did. They are not worried about what they thought, the machshava, the plan. That's not of concern to them. Because once Yosef is going to be Meichel Mashagomlom, the Maisa, then the machshava doesn't count, in their opinion. So this seems to be the answer between the Rabbeinu Chaya and the Psukim of Vayichan Chakachli. Yosef did the best mechila, Menachem Oisam Medaber Alibam, the best, but only insofar as what he was asked, and only insofar as that concerned him what he did. So Vayichan Chakachli to give us the mechila that we're asking for. But Rabbeinu Chaya is saying that he wasn't Meichel what they didn't ask. And yet we have to understand that the whole story of Asar Rugi Malchus came from the Machshava. Fa'atem chashaftem alay ro. That is what brought the whole Asar Rugi Malchus. The Ma'isa was Nimchal. The Mechir was Nimchal. But the Machshava is Aveira. And apparently that there was some truth to Yosef's position that they didn't have the din of Yisrael Lakula. There's some kitrig about it, and that Klal Yisrael still has to go through a kapora for machshava. But I think we have to be maimik a little bit more on what Yosef is saying. Atem chashaftem alero. What Yosef is saying is not just that you had a plan to do bad for me, like kasha zomam, v'loy kasha osa. The asi is meichel, but you have this mama. Atem chashaftem alero means that you think I am bad. You do not recognize the tzidkis of Yosef. You don't think he's on par with the Shiftei Kol. You don't think that he is mazik hezayah rakia and is in the madriga shlema of the Amud Ha'olam. You always looked at me negatively. You always saw I was trying to do this and trying to do that. You always interpreted what I did in a negative manner. Atem chashaftem alay ro. And this was apparent right here at this occasion. At this occasion, they said to him, your father instructed that you should be meichlas. Avicha tziva l'fnei meisai. Rashi makes the point. Shinu b'dava b'bnei hashalom. Shinu b'dava means they made up a story. Ki lo yitziva Yaakov Cain. Yaakov was not mitzvah for this. So Rashi, why not? Shloi nechshad Yosef be'inov. He saw the tzidkis of Yosef, and he perceived it, and he knew Yosef is not choshud on being meishiv kol ha'ra shagam lo isai, and not feed him. The brothers are choshen for that. So maybe they recognized that they shouldn't have sold him. Maybe they finally recognized that those chalemis might have had some kernel of truth, that he is able to be a melech over them. But he is not the tzaddik that Yaakov thinks he is. Right here, at the great reconciliation, they're being choshen him for what he's not. They're saying, Lu yistimenu Yosef v'hoshev yoshalanu is kol ha'ra shegomanu isai. So Atem chashaftem alay ro means that you don't see the good. You don't see the milas. You're blinding yourself. There's still some element of hate if you don't want to see the milas. People want to see the milas and the people they love and their close ones and their children, they want to see it. Why don't you want to see it? Atem chashaftem alay ro, that machshava ra is still here. Rashi explains, what did the brothers see? It says Vayiru Achi Yosef that their father died. And then they were afraid that maybe Yosef was going to get after them. What did they see? Rashi says that when they went up to bury Yaakov Avinu, so they passed by the bar where Yosef was thrown in. So Yosef bent down and kneeled and made a bracha. They see that negatively. They see he still remembers it. He's going to get us back. And they have no basis. Yosef HaTzadik made the bracha with a lot of kavanah, but not because he had harbored negative, ill sentiment to them. Because he felt so he might have made the bracha with a lot of kavanah. But he was not choshen on this. So right here, even when they're coming b'shleimus together, chashaftem alayho. And this is our problem, Rabbi say, till today. This Indian is still among us. Do we see the good in all the people we have to do with? Do we see their midas? Do we realize, are we chayshah them? And we don't see them in the paths of light. How often is it a person goes to a shiva, calling, hears such nice things about the person that he knew? It never dawned on him all those midas, and the person never wanted to know it. Never was looking for them. Are we looking to see the good and the midas in every one of us? And when that is mesukin, that's when it's going to be mekuyim. Mi tencha ka'ochli, shetovi lenachameni. And it'll be mekuyim nachmu ami, yomer alikeichem dabru aleiv Yerushalayim. This is what we have to work on. This is what we have to do. But I want to add a little bit of a frightening thought over here. Rashi says when Yaakov called his children together before he died, he was going to tell them what's going to happen by Achos Hayom. So Rashi brings that he was going to be megal to them when the Mashiach is coming. The Kates, and it was this time in Menu, so he started talking other things, started giving brachas, other discussions. This to me is very interesting. Yaakov Avinu wants to be megal the kids without being told by the Rebbe, without any Ruach HaKodesh of telling him that he should be megalit. Because we see it was not the Ratzon HaBeirei should be megalit. Now the kids is from the biggest secrets in the world. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Daniel, he told him, Ksoi v'chasei madvorim. And Chazal Makal, the people are trying to be mechashav kitzim. How is Yaakov on his own volition about to just reveal it? How could he do such a thing? Without being told, without a direction, without a simim and a shemayim, just to be megal the kids. And what I think the pshat is, Yaakov Avinu looked at it, that he's not being megal with the kids. The kids is here. He was looking at it. What's happening right now? All the bottom are surrounding Yaakov's mita, and they're saying, Shema Avinu Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. The Rambam says, Meseiris hi biyodeinu, that they were saying to him, Kishem shein belibcha ela echad, kach ein belibenu ela echad. Yaakov Avinu is lying there and he's seeing that the whole of Klal Yisrael, the Shvatim within the whole of Klal Yisrael, believe in the unity of the Rebbe Hashem, the same Atrik as him. That is the time when the Ketz is going to come. That is it. What better time is this for V'hoya Hashem l'melech hakol haaretz? That all of Klal Yisrael are standing there in the Madrig of Yaakov Avinu, in the Emunah, in the Yichud HaBeichim. So for sure this is the time to megal the kids. But it wasn't for sure. Nista mimenu. What's the pshat in that? The pshat is that the kids, the gilui of the Achdut HaBeirei, needs something else also. It needs the Mika Amri Yisrael Goy Echad Ba'aretz. It needs the Klal Yisrael's Ba'achdus HaGomer. These brothers standing around the Mita, are they Ba'achdus HaGomer, or they still harbor some ill sentiment for Yeshivat Hakotel? Is this yet the time for the Gilui of Achdusay, or it needs a strengthening of the Achdus of Klal Yisrael Zemzeh? At that holy moment when Yaakov Avinu is prepared to leave and to go to the Melech, and it's moving from the Overs to the Bottom, and they're holding by Emunah Yichud Hashem Emunah Gemura. But what's with the other point? What's with Mika Amcha Yisrael Goy Echad Ba'aretz? Ata Echad V'Shim Echad was there. What's the Mika Amcha Goy Echad Ba'aretz? That wasn't Bishleimis, and that's why it was Nistam Mimenu. He was not able to give it over. It was not the time. It wasn't ripe. It needs something else. And maybe you can hear even a little bit more. The Rambam says there in the beginning of Hilchos Krishma that we have a tradition that Yaakov Avinu b'Shas Misasai was being mitzvah his bonim on Yichud Hashem and on Derech Hashem. These are two big oiros of Avraham Avinu. Yichud Hashem is when Avraham Avinu came to the Hakora of the unity of the Rebbe Hashem, and then this Derech Hashem. Derech Hashem is a reference to the pasuk in Vayichan, L'manan she'yitzav es bonav es beis Yaakov v'shamru Derech Hashem. Derech Hashem, the Rambam says in Hilchos Deis, means midas typhus. No kinna, no sinna, no nekoma. A whole list of yashrus and deis. And then Avraham Avinu was manchal bonav, and Yaakov b'shas misasei was being tzivam v'zirzam, being mitzvah them and being mezagvas them on Yichud Hashem v'al Derech Hashem. And to that they said, Shema Avinu Yisrael, Kishem Shem B'lipcha El Echad, Kach Ein B'libeinu El Echad. They responded about Yichud Hashem. What's with Derech Hashem? Yaakov was being mitzvah them on Derech Hashem also. That they didn't say anything about. That they didn't say, just like you are in your madrega of in Derech Hashem, so are we. They knew that there was still dissension among them. They knew they couldn't say that. And that's what made it that it wasn't the Ketz, exactly that point. That's why they didn't respond to that point, they responded just to this. And I want to add more. Yaakov Avinu caught it. He caught it from the fact it was Nistam Mimenu, and he caught it from what they said. They said, Shema Avinu Yisrael only on Yichud Hashem, not on Derech Hashem. And they said even more. What does it mean? Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Rashi says in Parashat V'Eschanan that Hashem Shehu Elokeinu Ato, now he's only our God, not the Umas Ha'olam. L'Hased Lavai, he's going to be the God of the Umas Ha'olam as well. And Rashi means the pasuk of Hoya Shalom Melech. So they told Yaakov the time is not ripe. They told him that. The Taisha Shema Yisrael is that now not. But Asid, it's going to be. Yaakov Avinu went to his death a little bit disappointed. He thought now's the time is right. He thought that Yichud Hashem and Derech Hashem. He thought the Emunah and the Achdut Habeira and the Amcha Yisrael Goy Echad Ba'aretz would be b'shleimus. And he could be Megal the Ketz. And he finds out from them, no, Ba'asid he's going to be Echad. Not now. Not yet the time. And how does Yaakov Avinu respond? Baruch Shem Kivoid Malchus Elolim Void. That it should be Mizbarach and Misrabah the Kvoid Malchus. Meaning, if it's not happening now, so let's start the program. Let's start doing things that's going to be Misrabah and Mizbarach, and then be Mizgala Yezer V'Yezer Kvoid Malchus. He responded that he's catching on what's happening. That this time Imenu, and they're not holding by it, and it's still not B'Shleimus, and they still don't see the Yashrus and the Tzidkis of Yeshivat Tzadik. And this is what we have to do. We have to be marbe in the Derech Hashem as well as in the Yichud Hashem, and with that be able to come to the realization of the Baruch Shem Kivoid Malchus Elolim Void, and come to the Shleimus of Ahoya Hashem L'Melech HaKol Haaretz B'Yemahu Yeh Hashem HaChodesh Mayach.